Hi again then guys, and welcome to episode 6 of Party in the Back, the review series for the wagons or estate cars of GranTurismo. And in this episode we're actually featuring an estate car which has been a pretty long-standing member of the GranTurismo franchise. It's been on the game since at least GranTurismo 2. I can't say whether it was on the first game because I never played it, but I don't think it was because I don't think this car was out yet. But I may be wrong on that. Now, this is essentially a more understated and beefed up, size-wise, version of a Skyline with a boot, if you will. And there are two versions of this car on the game. There's this version, which is the more understated model, and there's the Autech version, which has a more direct descendant of the Skyline's engine, and has more of a GT-R look and feel to it. Now, the Autech version we'll be featuring in a future episode of the series, but for now we're looking at this model, which is the more mainstream model, which is the RS4. Now, this vehicle is, of course, the Nissan Stagea or Stagea. I've heard it from a source that it's pronounced Stagea. I still don't know, to be honest, but to me that sounds really dumb. Maybe that's the case, though. Who really cares? Now, as far as the engine, this car is powered by a 2.5 litre turbo, which is slightly smaller than the engine that you find in the Autech version, which is a 2.6 litre turbo. And this car, funnily enough, is actually more powerful than the Autech version when fully tuned. A lot of people seem to think, understandably so, that the Autech Stagea is more powerful and faster. But that's actually not the case, surprisingly. This car is by far, in my opinion, and if you're talking pure facts, the better deal of the two cars. The Autech looks nice and has the on-paper spec that would catch your eye, but this car is better. This car has more power, it weighs less, it's cheaper, and it's faster. Now, the engine produces 649 horsepower, which is 9 horsepower more than the Autech version produces when fully tuned, and this car produces 468 pound-feet of torque, which interestingly is a lot lower than the Autech version. That's pretty much the only advantage that that car has over this one. However, this car only weighs 1,321 kilos, which makes it around 50 kilos lighter than the Autech version, which is quite a bit considering that when you're over 300 kilos, every kilo starts to really matter. And its power to weight ratio per tonne is not far off 500, which is pretty decent for an estate car. Now, being based as it is on an R34 generation Skyline, it's never going to be the smallest and nimblest of wagons. It's a pretty big car. The Skyline is already a big car, and this makes it significantly longer and taller. So, what's it like around corners? Because the Skyline is a brilliant car, but does this car have enough of that Skyline essence to make it a track weapon? Well, I'm happy to say it does. Now, this is no GT-R. It doesn't have anywhere near the tuning potential, especially regarding power, that the Skyline has. But slow, it certainly is not. The handling on this car is very, very good for its size and for its weight, which isn't the lightest of estate cars, not hatchbacks. The handling is good, not amazing, but good. Certainly good enough to win races. And the performance, as you'd expect from just under 650 horsepower, isn't exactly a slouch. Off the line, the all-wheel drive gives it great launch. Top end, it's not the strongest of wagons, to be completely honest. It doesn't come anywhere near any of the Audi estate cars in terms of top speed and top end acceleration. But it does have significantly less power than those cars, so that's not too surprising. Plus, as I've mentioned in the series before, Japanese companies don't tend to go for top speed as much as acceleration, and this car certainly has acceleration both low end and to some extent mid-range. Certainly enough for tracks such as here at the Nürburgring Ring. Now, in terms of grip, it's an all-wheel drive model, so it's always going to be pretty good. But the handling is very reminiscent, I would say, of the Skyline. It's not exactly as good as a Skyline, because the extra size swinging around, especially around the back end, is going to make a difference. but the handling isn't too far removed from the Skyline. As I said earlier, it can certainly win races. And the final nail in the coffin for the Autech model is the price on this model. This is a 32,000 credit car compared to the Autech's 45,000 credits. So neither of the cars are breaking the bank, but this is a significantly cheaper car. And considering how much better it also is overall, not that the Autech's a bad car by any means, but this car is just better, that makes it even more of a good deal. It's not a premium car, probably not too surprising, but kind of unfortunate, and I have to say overall I like this car. I don't particularly like the Autech version that much. One of the reasons why I like this version is because of the fact that you wouldn't know, unless you're a petrol head, what it is or what it's capable of. It's understated, it's a sleeper car. The Autech version kind of ruins that. It gives it the big wing and the ridiculous chin splitter, etc., that just makes it stand out too much from the crowd, to the point where, unfortunately, it can't actually deliver on those looks. As I said, not a bad car, but this one doesn't shout about what it can do and is quite simply better. So if you're looking for a good all-round wagon for both straight line performance and handling, the Stagea Skyline wagon, in effect, is a great choice to go for. So that's it for this episode. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, thanks for watching.